The quote, "Cease to hope and you will cease to fear" by Seneca, a Roman Stoic philosopher, carries a profound message about how our emotions are often tied to our expectations and desires for the future. In this quote, Seneca suggests that both hope and fear are connected because they both involve looking forward to what might happen. By reducing our dependence on hoping for specific outcomes, we can also reduce our fears about what might not happen or go wrong. Let's explore the quote for a better understanding. First, we'll define hope and fear. Hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a particular outcome. It is often associated with positive anticipation, like hoping for good weather on a day planned for an outdoor event. Fear, on the other hand, is the anticipation of a negative outcome. It's the anxiety or worry that something bad might happen, like fearing a storm on the same day. Now we can explore the connection between hope and fear. Both hope and fear are focused on the future and involve uncertainty. When we hope for something, there is always the possibility that it won't happen, which can create fear. For example, if you hope to get into a particular college, there is also the fear that you might not get accepted. This shows how closely linked these emotions are. One cannot exist without the potential for the other. Come on this deep dive with me, and I can almost guarantee that when you reach the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of what Seneca was saying and see just how powerful this quote is. Stoic philosophy on emotions. In Stoic philosophy, emotions like hope and fear are seen as disturbances to the mind because they rely on things outside of our control. The Stoics believe that we should focus on what we can control, our own actions and thoughts, rather than external events which are often unpredictable and beyond our influence. According to Stoicism, hope and fear both represent a desire for or aversion to something we do not control. By allowing ourselves to be swayed by these emotions, we become vulnerable to disappointment and anxiety. Here's how we can break this concept down. Expectation and control. When we place too much importance on hope, we attach ourselves to a specific outcome that may not be in our control. This attachment creates a kind of emotional dependency. Our happiness becomes tied to the fulfillment of this hope. Similarly, fear arises when we dread that things will not turn out as we wish. If we fear losing something or not achieving a goal, that fear is a direct result of our attachment to the desired outcome. Emotional stability through detachment. More often than not, when you hear someone talk about emotional detachment, they'll usually discuss it in a negative light. It's often described as when a person is unable to engage fully with their own or other people's feelings. Some go as far as to say that it is a disorder. Although that may be true in some cases, it's usually a half-truth. Being unable to do something and choosing not to do it are two entirely different things. Seneca's advice to cease to hope and you will cease to fear suggests that by letting go of our attachment to specific outcomes, whether good or bad, we can achieve a more stable and peaceful state of mind. This does not mean becoming indifferent or not caring about anything. Instead, it means recognizing that while we can hope for the best, we should also accept whatever happens without letting it disturb our inner peace. By detaching from both hope and fear, we reduce emotional turbulence and gain resilience. Acceptance of the present. One practical interpretation of this quote is to focus more on the present moment rather than constantly looking ahead to the future. By accepting things as they are right now and doing our best in the present, we reduce the need for hope or fear. You may have heard this saying before, but it bears repeating. You can't change the past, and the future will never come. There is only the present. There is only now. The idea is to live in a way that does not depend on the fulfillment of specific desires. For example, instead of hoping for a promotion and fearing not getting it, one might focus on doing their current job well and maintaining a sense of satisfaction in their efforts. Now, moving to applying the quote in everyday life. Managing expectations. Practice setting realistic expectations. Instead of hoping for a perfect outcome, consider multiple possibilities and be prepared for any of them. For example, if you're applying for a job, hope for the best, but also be ready for the possibility that you might not get it. This balanced approach can help reduce the fear of failure or rejection. Cultivating acceptance. Work on accepting outcomes as they come. If something doesn't turn out the way you hoped, try to see it as an opportunity to learn or grow rather than a cause for distress. For instance, If a relationship doesn't work out, instead of fearing the future alone, focus on the lessons learned and how you can apply them moving forward. Focus on what you can control. Direct your energy towards actions you can control rather than worrying about outcomes you can't. For example, if you're nervous about an upcoming exam, focus on studying and preparing as best as you can, rather than just hoping for a good grade or fearing a poor one. Practice mindfulness. Engage in mindfulness practices that encourage you to stay present. By focusing on the here and now, you reduce the tendency to project hopes and fears onto the future. Simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, or even mindful walking can help center your thoughts on the present. Here are some good examples in real life. Sports competitions. Just as athletes often hope to win, they almost always fear losing. A Stoic approach would involve focusing on training and performing to the best of their ability without attaching their happiness to winning or losing. That's the meaning behind the quote. It's not about whether you win or lose, but how you play the game. By focusing on doing their best, they maintain composure regardless of the outcome. In everyday decisions. In everyday life, like deciding to move to a new city, one might hope for new opportunities but also fear the change. Instead of being swayed by these emotions, one could focus on the practical steps involved in making the move and trust that they will adapt to whatever the new situation brings. So, what can we conclude? Seneca's quote, "Cease to hope and you will cease to fear," is a powerful reminder of the Stoic principle of emotional detachment. It teaches us that by reducing our dependence on uncertain outcomes, we can achieve a more stable and peaceful state of mind. By focusing on what is within our control and accepting whatever happens with equanimity, we can free ourselves from the cycle of hope and fear. This will allow us to live a more balanced life and experience more contentment. As an average person, you can apply Seneca's quote, "Cease to hope and you will cease to fear," by learning to let go of your attachment to specific outcomes and embracing a mindset of acceptance and resilience. Start by recognizing that both hope and fear are driven by uncertainty about the future, and focusing too much on either can lead to emotional instability. Instead, concentrate on what you can control. Focus on your actions. Focus on your efforts. And focus on your mindset. While maintaining your focus, be open to whatever results may come. By doing this now, you can reduce unnecessary stress and anxiety, leading to a calmer and more focused life. Embracing this approach allows you to live more fully in the present without being constantly pulled by the up and downs of hopes and fears. This shift not only brings peace but also empowers you to handle challenges with greater confidence and clarity. If you found this video helpful or insightful, be sure to leave a like. And as always, I wish you a well-lived life.